We're going to begin with new signs that Israel's military, its assault on Gaza, routing out Hamas, still has a long way to go. This morning, the Israeli Army Chief of Staff has said that he expects, quote, more and more regions of that tiny strip of land will be targeted as his troops get closer to, quote, dismantling Hamas. Imtiaz Tayyab traveled with Israeli soldiers to the Al-Shifa hospital complex, which Israel says has been a center of operations for Hamas, but is now also the focus of criticism over Israel's tactics. And Imtiaz joins us now. Imtiaz, you know that region well. You've worked there for years. What did you learn visiting Al-Shifa?
Tony, good morning to you. Well, central to Israel's justifications of its devastating military campaign on Gaza is its claim that Hamas's armed wing has been running extensive operations from within the Al-Shifa hospital. Now, the only way for us as international journalists to enter Gaza is with the Israeli military. We were taken to the sprawling medical complex by one of Israel's elite special forces unit. We could only go where they wanted to take us and see what they wanted to show us. But Israel's army had no control over our final report.
We traveled deep into Gaza under the cover of darkness in one of Israel's most sophisticated armored personnel carriers, called the Nama, or Tiger.
This armored personnel vehicle is the only way for us to get to the Al-Shifa hospital, which is now surrounded by Israeli forces. It's been the epicenter of its battle here in Gaza City.
As we pass through the battered streets of what was once a vibrant city, home to nearly 800,000 Palestinians, a view screen shows the ghostly wreckage of building after building, and not a single person in sight. Back outside, and we're met by Israel's Shaldag Air Force unit, known for its commando-style raids.
We're walking through the streets of Gaza City, and even in the darkness, you can see nearly everything's in ruins.
These special forces led the raid on the Al-Shifa hospital complex and have been searching it since Wednesday. And this is what they found. A tunnel they say is proof Hamas fighters used the hospital as a command center. We were then taken inside a small one-story building where we were shown a collection of grenades, rifles, and ammunition apparently taken from a vehicle also found on the hospital's grounds.
The criticism is that the evidence provided so far is underwhelming, that it doesn't show unequivocally that this was a Hamas command center.
Well, it will take us time.
Just a second, this was not just one Hamas headquarters. This was at least 3 headquarters working simultaneously in the city and outside the city. And
this is a level of detail which we're not seeing, though. If you do, there's 3 separate command centers, but we can't see any of that.
This is it's not something you can see right now.
The Biden administration backs Israel's claims the Al-Shifa hospital was used by Hamas's armed wing. According to the Gaza Ministry of Health, around 650 patients, many critically ill, still remain inside, but we were not allowed access to any of them.
Now, this morning, the Israeli military announced that it had recovered the body of the 19-year-old soldier Noah Marciano, who was one of the Israelis abducted on October 7th. They say they found her body in a structure, quote, adjacent to the Shifa hospital in Gaza. Now, it's not clear whether this was the same structure where they found the body of 66-year-old hostage Yehudit Weiss, whose remains were also found just yesterday. Tony.
Yeah, that 66-year-old grandmother alive and at home on October 7th, now dead and inside Gaza, where she was found. Gaza's a place you've been before. The costs of the Israeli response are significant. You mentioned the battered streets. What else struck you as, even under cover of darkness, you were able to look around a little?
Yeah, Tony, Gaza is a place I've been going to for well over a decade. I have friends there, former colleagues, and what struck me as soon as we entered was the smell. You can smell death in the air as bodies decompose under the rubble. And then what we could see, even in the darkness, was destroyed buildings as far as the eye could see. Not a single building intact. And then there was the Al-Shifa hospital. This is the largest hospital in Gaza. It is known as a place of refuge. It is known as a place of safety. But what we saw was a place of devastation and a place of despair. But very quickly, I would like to add that the Palestinian journalists inside Gaza who have been sending us those pictures every single day of the devastation there continue to do so, while we can only enter with Israeli forces.
They're doing important work. The question of that devastation for the world is, who do you blame, Hamas or the IDF? Imtiaz Tayyab helping us paint a picture. Imtiaz, thank you very much.